immediate left is Teiama Sippio. She's a model and makeup artist. And to her left is Tara Thomas. Tara Thomas is a teacher in the local school system, and she's my co-host for Community Forum. Good evening, folks.
Good evening, Dr. Brooks.
We're very happy, Teiama, to have you again with us.
Thank you.
This time we're going to be talking about modeling and makeup.
Yes.
And our audience is very excited about hearing about modeling and makeup. But first of all, I'd like for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Okay. Well, my name is Teiama Sippio, and I'm a Montessori teacher. And I love every walk of life. I have a great respect for diversity and leadership. I went to one of the biggest high schools, and with that being said, I was exposed to different walks of life from around the world. I actually went to school with foreign exchange students, and it made me very cultured. And my father was also in the military, and we lived overseas in Guam and Hawaii, and relocated to California, and now we're currently reside in Lake County. And it just broadened my horizons, and I met a lot of different people, which made me get into this industry. It made me comfortable, and to be able to speak in front of people and to get out there. And then I branched out into coming from ballet, jazz and tap, into cheerleading, and that gave me the confidence to speak and get in front of crowds and kind of perform. And then eventually I got into modeling, and now I'm an actual makeup artist. So they just bridge each other, one after the other.
I know my wife Daisy and I to share your early childhood, a big education, because you attended Tots and Tyler Daycare Center, right?
I did. I'm an alumni. I was actually in preschool.
Okay.
My mother, after we relocated from Guam and Hawaii, we went to California, and my mother was studying accounting at Berkeley College, and she would send me back here, which is the Lake County area, because my grandfather was in the military, stationed in Fort Sheridan. And I would, you know, she had to put me in daycare. I was always ruffling her feathers, so she had to put me in daycare. And it was actually you and your wife's daycare, Tots and Toddlers, for the summers. And I had a ball. I met a lot of different people there, and I had the pleasure. Actually, your daughter was my teacher.
This was Cassandra.
Yeah, Cassandra. She was one of my teachers. So yeah, so we go way back, Dr. Brooks.
And I can remember your grandfather, Mr. Cleary.
Yes, Arnold Cleary.
And he would always he and his mother, his wife rather, come and pick you up.
Yes,
because your mother was commuting, I guess, from
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah. That's when she actually relocated back here to Chicago. She worked downtown in the Federal Building, and she'd have to go back and forth on the train. So I was always a late pickup. But
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I never would dream that you would be a guest.
I know.
Community Forum, you know. So we're going to talk a little about that.
Okay, sounds good.
First of all, I'm going to talk with my co-hosts for this Community Forum this evening.
Oh, well, thank you.
Tara Thomas. And Tara, you're a teacher in the local school system, but I want you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal professional background.
Well, I'm a teacher at a local school in District 187, greatest district there is. Okay, I'm a little biased. And prior to that, I'm from Michigan. So we were relocated here. When I say we, my husband and I, for his position. And when I was in Michigan, actually I hosted a show. And I did some anchoring in Michigan, in the Flint, Michigan area. So this is like really great to be able to get my feet back in, my hands back in the water. And when Dr. Brooks approached me, I'm thinking, are you kidding? I used to do this. This is wonderful, you know. So I love this. And I got into teaching because of my children. They were in a very affluent school district, but one of them wasn't excelling as much as I thought he should, and he wasn't being given the attention I thought. So I thought, you know what, let me quit my job, and I'm going to make him who he is. Today, he's studying to be a maxillofacial surgeon. And my other son is graduating from law school next week. So it was a good, hiatus, and I'm glad I took it. But I'm glad to be here with you guys, and this is wonderful to have this lovely lady as my first interviewee. Oh, my goodness, I'm excited.
Right.
And I happen to work for his daughter, who was your teacher.
Yes.
She's my principal. That just shows you how the world.
Yes.
I had no idea. I had no idea that was your teacher. Yeah, Dr. Cassandra. And I mean, she looks like she's like your age. I didn't even know she could do that. So we have a lot in common already.
We do.
Well, I didn't hesitate to invite Tara to be the co-host, as with all that background she has. As a matter of fact, I could learn a lot from her.
Yes.
But we're going to start off, Tara, by asking Teiama,
Okay.
what piqued your interest in the field of modeling and makeup too?
Yes, yes. Well, I used to, always go and get my eyebrows done, actually.
Okay.
And I was approached by a lady, and she said, you should model. You should act. You should get into the business. She would always tell me that.
Okay.
And I would tell her, well, I don't really fit that mold. I mean, I'm not tall. I'm not skinny by far. I don't fit that mold. I'm not even comfortable enough to do something like that.
Okay.
And what happened was I was like a little backup dancer for this one girl who could actually sing. And she had an opportunity to go on the Jenny Jones show that was filmed in Chicago. And she invited me along, and I said, sure, I'll go, it'll be fun. When I went into the NBC Tower, there was a producer that approached me and asked me, would you like to come on our show and be a guest model as a freelance when we need you, if there's a show that we could use you in? And I said, sure, why not? But it was more than what I had bargained for. I was really excited, that you would come from Chicago and pick me up in a limo and take me to the green room, and I would film these shows. And I was more of a, I would walk people out on the stage, escort them out, and push buttons and do whatever Jenny Jones, asked me to do.
Right.
And it was a wonderful experience. I was young, but it just really submerged me into this lifestyle. And I said, you know what, I could get used to this. I like this. So then after her show was over, I said, well, what can I do next? And, I went to different seminars, and I found out the best way to break into the business is to actually get with agencies. And then I said, well, but I'm not skinny, but I'm not tall.
Okay.
So then I got educated and did my research, and I found out that there are different types of modeling. There's print modeling, which that's where you just focus on your face.
Right.
If you have beautiful skin, beautiful features, clear skin, they'll use you. And then there's parts modeling. If you have nice hands, if you have nice ears, you can model earrings, necklaces, and vice versa. And then I found out there was promotional modeling, which is, I'm like, well, what's promotional modeling? Well, that's where you go and do events. That's where you go and even sometimes you can be in a department store and the ladies that ask you, would you like a squirt of this perfume? They're not always working for the department. Those are models that got hired by an agency to do
Well, you mentioned that you were with some agencies. Which agencies are you with?
I'm with Lori Lynn in Milwaukee. I'm with BMG out of Chicago. I'm with Ford out of Milwaukee. And Lily's Talent Agency.
Okay, those are some very impressive agencies. So do you travel throughout the country, or you do locally with the Midwest?
I'm local. I'm Midwest. I have 2 children, and that's another thing that kind of...
I understand.
Yeah, so I'm doing the best I can with what I have, but I try to stay local if possible.
Okay, because I know you've done some auto shows.
Yes, I have.
You did the auto show.
Yeah,
and some film, I might want to add.
Yeah, I did.
So would you mind telling us about some of the films? Because there's a recent, you have one that's coming out, or is it already out at this time?
Yeah, it came out in January. And actually it's called Of Boys and Men.
Okay.
And it was directed by Eric Seaton out of Chicago. And Sharon King was the casting director for that project.
Sharon King's very impressive.
Yes,
okay.
yes. And she invited me down. She called me and she said, would you like to audition for this role? It's to be the role of Faison Love's girlfriend, love interest in the movie. And it's not a speaking role, but you'll be casted, you'll get credit. The pay will be good, and you'll also, we'll be having a stand-in for you.
Okay.
Excuse me. So I said, yeah, I'll audition for it. So I was thinking, okay, I got it. She called me, she called me. And then when I went to the actual location for the audition, it was so many girls there. So I was like, okay. So it brought me back down, excuse me, on my high horse. And I auditioned for it, and actually I was there for about a couple hours, and with all that being said, my comp card was the last on the table. And so I actually got casted, and we filmed the movie about 2 years ago, and I'm in 2 scenes with him.
Okay.
And even one scene we're in like matching outfits and everything, so, but it just got released January.
And who are some of the female actors? Because you mentioned
Angela Bassett.
Angela Bassett,
yeah,
right.
and Robert Townsend. It was
Wow.
like, it was surreal for me because I've done things, but that was the biggest thing that I've done, like waiting for Angela Bassett or Robert Townsend to get out of the dressing room was like surreal, you know. But, and standing side by side with Faison. So it was just it was a wonderful experience for me. Warner Brothers released it this past January, and so it's at Walmart and Target stores nationwide.
So this is one of the films that was actually shot here in Chicago.
In Chicago.
Which is wonderful for Chicago. It
It
helps our
is.
economy.
It
right?
is. It's a beautiful thing for Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about time we get recognition. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. And I've also, back to the modeling, so I got into modeling, and I ended up doing, you know, I said, you know, I'm not going to worry about the stereotypes. I'm just going to, you know, if they call me for an audition, I'm
just
gonna
be
do it.
yourself.
Yeah, so I did it, and I actually got signed to those agencies, and I've done print for with Ford for the NFL magazine.
Really?
Yeah, with the New England Patriot.
Okay.
And then I've done some print for Being Single magazine.
Okay.
John Smith, he's a great photographer out of Chicago. And then I actually did a big print job that I did was S.C. Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah, they make Windex and Glade and Off and all
Now
those
that
products.
is a huge corporation.
Yeah, it was
was a
an
nice
experience.
contract, right.
It was an experience, and they had 4 families. You know, they had different ethnicities of families, and I was the African American mother.
Okay.
And then they had my fake kids, and then my fake husband come in, and then we did a big shoot at a really, really nice location at a home in Macomb, Wisconsin. And then I've also done some, speaking of fake families, I've done some industrial work, which is non-broadcast. So we can't see it on TV, but they'll use it to like training corporate videos and things like that. I've done things like that with my own children where they wanted to be, they wanted it to be real. So I did that with A&O Smith Water Heating Company down in Wisconsin as well. So I have a variety of different things. And then I also found out there was a such thing as commercial modeling. So I said, well, what is commercial modeling? And I got called to do a book for a job for that, which was with Valpak.
Okay.
And Valpak...
is that the envelope we get in the mail every
exactly,
month?
that's exactly
with
what
the coupons.
it is. With the coupons.
Exactly. Okay.
Yes, that's what it is. And what I did for that was I just slipped on some eyeshadow for like 30 seconds. You know, really was a half an hour of work. Paid great money. I didn't have to say anything. You know, there's no other people in the movie. I'm the only, I mean, in the commercial.
Right.
I'm the only principal in the commercial.
Okay. And
the other things that are in commercial is just the products. But it was only like a 30-second sweep of eyeshadow. It's actually on my website. And it was a wonderful experience.
You know, you have a wonderful voice. I was wondering, have you done any voiceovers?
I have.
Okay, I would think you would.
Thank you, thank you. I've gotten approached by different people for some independent things that I've done, some voiceover, and I did like a cartoon. So that's another thing I would like to get into. Yeah.
You have a perfect voice for that.
Thank you.
As I'm listening to her talk, Dr. Brooks, I'm thinking, you have to have done some voiceovers, or if not, you probably will be after people see this.
Oh, great, great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
That's a good thing.
I was wondering for young people that may be watching, you know, high school students, what preparation would you recommend for them besides being good looking?
Okay, yes,
It's
yes.
more than looks, right?
It is, because it's not just looks. You have to have a personality. You have to have the confidence. And what I would tell them is believe in yourself, and if you're serious about getting into the modeling, don't get caught in the stereotypes.
Okay.
You can do it. There's all kinds of modeling out there. And then there's also the runway, of course, and that's the mold that I'm talking about. But there's everything that you can do out there. And the first thing you would probably need to do is shoot with a professional photographer. And I'm not talking about Olin Mills or any, I'm talking about an industry photographer that knows exactly what the agents want. Because those photographers are going to dress you and put you in the light and put you with a makeup artist and a stylist and an artistic director and a set director that knows what agencies want.
Okay.
So you're going to shoot with them. You're going to pay anywhere from $700 to $1,000 for your pictures. But once you do that, it's like an investment. You go to school, you invest in your college education, you get paid.
Yes.
It's no different.
Right.
It's no different. You have to, do you have to pay to go to a makeup school or a modeling school? No. No, you don't have to do that.
Right.
But for something like this, you would have to definitely invest in your pictures. That is the way you market yourself.
Did you have a mentor who guided you in that direction?
You know, actually, I did. Sharon King is the one who kind of gave me the go-ahead on to, you need to shoot with a professional.
Okay.
Because at first I was just trying to go to just local malls, you know, and just take pictures, and I thought they looked good. But she was like, they do look good, but they don't fit the Chicago mold.
Right.
They don't fit Target or Gap or Sears or what you're trying to do.
Because Chicago really is the New York of the Midwest, isn't it?
It is.
In your profession.
It is.
Okay.
It really is. It really is. So she kind of told me, you know, this is what you need to do, and I followed every step. I went to some open calls, and they said, we like you, we'll sign you, shoot with our photographer.
Okay.
I shot with him, completely changed my look, and I did what they wanted me to do. He said, you know, your name is Teiama. It's a beautiful name. But let's tone it down. Let's call you Ama. It's easier to read. It looks better on print.
Easier to remember.
Yeah, you don't want to distract the agents. You want them to focus on you. So I did everything that she told me to do, as well as the photographer. And then after that, you know, I just started working. I got with these auditions, and I started working. But that's what I would tell the girls: stick with an agency photographer. Send your pictures in. Send them into the area that you're going to be working in. Don't send them out to Atlanta or New York. That's the mistake I made, because you don't live there. You're not going to go.
So when they call you, you're not being in a split moment to receive those calls.
Right.
But you know, you're mentioning a look and how being unique. But you know, seriously, you have a very close resemblance to Beyonce.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I know you've heard this 100 times because you do. So I'm thinking, how did they? If you're being unique, and you can't help it because you're naturally beautiful, and you naturally look like her. So how are they going to diverse your look from hers? Because when I look at you, I'm interviewing Beyonce here, you know what I'm saying? And I'm good with that. I'm good with that, okay? So how did they work with that? Because you have such a strong resemblance to her.
Thank you. Okay, this is the thing. When you're shooting, when you're doing things like commercial things, Gap, Target, Sears, I'm just throwing some names out there. They don't want you to wear the weave. They don't want you to wear the heavy makeup. That's okay to do for a runway.
Okay.
It's okay to do that. Or if you're shooting in Vogue, that's okay.
Okay.
But when you're just trying to relate to the everyday people,
they want a more down look.
natural look. So I had to change my name. I have to, when I go into this day, when I go into those agencies, I have to wear either my natural hair or a hair that looks more natural. I have to tone down the makeup, and before, you know, I get out my car, I'm like, okay, I'm Ama. I have to convert back to that. Like, I become a different person.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I have to tone everything down and completely change my look, because my look has to be like my comp card.
Okay.
What you see now is not what my comp card reflects.
I see.
It reflects the more glamorous, the makeup artist side of me, the creativity and the free spirit. But
Okay.
it's not what they would be looking for to relate to the everyday people. So I had to completely change that up.
So most of us realize that, you know, no matter what career you're in, this is my second career, and I think Dr. Brooks is, but he's fortunate. Some people hit it, you know, and they get there and they know what they want to do. He's one of those. I'm with you. I'm having 2 or 3 careers. So after this, I mean, do you want to stay in this industry, or is there something you'd like to develop it into, or what would you tell us? Because now every day you have the plan B. You know, especially in the economy today. There are so many people that went in one industry and ended up in something else. So is there something you could take this and evolve it into something else, or what do you want to do with your modeling?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, I've transferred that over into makeup.
Okay.
Because I thought about that too. You know, I'm going to get older, things are going to be different the older I get. So with makeup, that's a career that I can do forever.
That's an excellent idea.
You know, there's people that they're always getting married. There's always going to be movie sets that need makeup artists.
Exactly.
There's always something that can transpire from that. And that could also lead into becoming an esthetician, and that's more focusing on the skincare. But right now, I just want to focus on events and things like that. And I also want to use this to mentor to young girls, to teenage girls. You know, I've been working with, I've worked with some beauty pageants and things like that, and to show these girls that makeup doesn't make you who you are. It just it defines you. It brings out your beauty that you already have.
Okay.
Because you can't be pretty if you don't already have pretty features. Makeup doesn't make you beautiful.
And I think makeup can help transcend, make you feel better inside.
It does.
Because when you're like, for example, today I don't have the makeup on, I wouldn't normally have to have.
And you look gorgeous.
No, I don't. But that's okay. But when I do have it on, I just, you walk 10 feet tall. You're right,
Yeah.
makeup does. Now, I know one of the pictures, I don't know if we have it to show today,
Okay.
but one of the pictures you did was more, I don't know, I want to say commercial, with the makeup for the Mardi Gras.
Oh, yeah, for the...
Which I thought was excellent, because even if you go to Hollywood, sometimes they do the more dramatic type.
Yes,
so
yeah.
you're definitely skilled in that area.
Yeah, and there's different types. You can do the natural, and then you can go into the more dramatic look. Then you can go to the day and the evening look. So it just depends on what look you're going for. But I feel like makeup is changing. You know, now you have airbrushing, you have the cosmetic tattooing. So it's evolving and it's changing in its different realms. And you can always learn something. There's always going to be a different face tone or skin type. Or, there's always going to be something different where I think I can continue to grow and continue to learn more.
So do you think Chicago, because we are the Midwest, and this I always refer to as a cosmopolitan part of the Midwest,
Definitely.
there's a market here for that?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Okay.
Chicago is film and commercial.
Okay.
Chicago, like as far as like music videos and things like that, you're not going to get a lot of work. We don't have we don't have an Epic Records or a Vibe or we don't have Arista Records. We don't have a big corporation like that. We might have spin-off branches, but that's not where it is for us. Here it's film and commercial. This is where it's at. So there's there's something also I can get into. Media makeup.
And what about catalogs? Do you do catalogs?
Catalog modeling or makeup?
Both.
Okay, I've actually did some makeup on a set. The movie that I did of Boys and Men.
Okay.
Quincy was studying. There's a gentleman named Quincy Trent, and he was studying under Eric Seaton, and he invited me to do a film, One Dream Away.
Now, Eric Seaton is a director, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a director. Yeah, yeah. And Quincy Trent was studying under his direction, and he seen me, and he was like, I would like to work with you on my film. And I actually filmed that film. They just premiered it. It's called One Dream Away.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually got
We have a movie star here among us. So we want to remember, we discovered you when, okay? So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm just saying, oh my God, 2 films, okay.
Yeah. So that was great. And I got to play a role of a teacher, which was just
natural for
me.
you.
It was so natural. It was just a small role, but it was wonderful because it got me familiar and comfortable with the scene and the set and the way things flow on a movie set. And they needed a gentleman got a black eye. They needed him to have a black eye.
So you did the...
Yeah, and they were like, Teiama, we need you. So I was like, sure. So with that being said, it all kind of transforms and transpires into one.
Well, we're going to show some of her work before and after a little later on in the program. And I think that's going to be outstanding so our audience can see what was now and what was after.
Yes.
So as soon as we get that up, then you can talk about it, what all went into it.
Okay,
women, we always want makeovers. I don't care about the before shot. I'd like the after.
Right. It does.
We want to know how are we going to look after. Exactly.
Yeah. I remember I did a wedding.
Okay, here's now this is this before?
This is after.
This is after.
Yeah, this is after.
Okay.
That's a before shot of a girl that was
she's the one I was referring to who has the more commercial for a movie type set look.
Yes. This is definitely her before, and she was going to a Mardi Gras type of event, and that's her after. So you have the colors, you have the glitter, you have the smoky eye in the corner, you have the flare of the stickers, and I also arched her eyebrows, and she's a beautiful girl before and after, obviously.
Did you do anything with her hair?
No, her hair,
it was just highlighted like that naturally?
Her hair, yeah, she came like that. Beautiful girl, and she's also, this particular girl, she's a designer. She makes tutus. So she was open to the creativity and the flair of
Dr.
it all.
Brooks, you might want to have her on one day.
Yeah.
She makes tutus for the dancers.
Yeah, I can definitely arrange that. That would be awesome.
She is local?
Yeah, she's very local.
Okay,
she's very local. She's a sweetheart. She would love that.
Okay.
And that's the before of the first.
Well, she was pretty to begin with, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she did, the way I redid this lady, I made her very natural.
Okay.
Very natural.
Right.
So it's a very
Now,
natural.
see, that's a look that you could go to work in.
Every day.
That's what I
That's
would
an
do.
everyday look.
Because believe me, if I came in there another picture like that, Dr. Brooks would send me home so fast. She'd be like, I know. She'd be like, I know you got up on the wrong side of the bed. Where did you think you were going? But I could go to work like this.
Yeah,
That's
this
a
is
very nice,
natural, corporate,
very professional
very,
look.
very clean look. Just
Yeah,
highlight the eyes. I smoked her with brown on the side and gave her a burgundy lip.
And still it gives her a younger look, too.
Yes, very,
know?
very much so.
And you know women, we like that.
We do.
Okay.
We do. We have to remain forever
And
young.
the men do too.
They like us to look that way. That's really nice.
Okay, now here's,
Okay, this is a particular model. She's a European model with an agency.
Now, is this you applying the makeup?
Yeah, this is me applying the
Okay.
makeup. And actually, I got this booking from my school. I attended London Eye's International Academy of Makeup. And they actually, they will, if they feel that, you know, you can represent them well, they will actually book you for shows.
Oh.
And
That is a very prestigious school.
Yes, it is.
Of makeup
Very,
artists. It
very,
really is.
very. And actually, this was a runway show for to benefit lupus research.
Okay.
And this Vince Vaughn put this show on.
Now, is that Vince Vaughn, the actor?
Yes.
Oh, my
It
goodness.
is. It is. His
Okay.
wife was there.
You're just rolling with the big ones. I'll tell
I'm
you.
trying. I am trying. So yeah, that was that show. So I did a before and after look on her too
That's
as
wonderful.
well.
you are a certified makeup artist.
Yes, I'm certified. I went to school and got my certification.
That's just like being a certified teacher now, Dr. Brooks. Everybody has to be certified.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
And the thing with makeup, you know, there was people saying, well, you don't have to be certified to be a makeup artist. Why would you want to do that? Just go and. But I said, you know what? For me,
People want
I wanna be-
professionals.
exactly,
They
I
want
wanna-
professional teachers. They want professional artists.
Yeah.
You know, if they're going to pay you, because you guys are not inexpensive, okay?
Right.
So you want to pay someone you know who knows what they're doing.
exactly. And I wanted. You're exactly.
It's probably
right.
better than teachers are making right now. So.
Well, you mentioned about her looking like Beyonce.
She does. She's a strong resemblance to me. I don't
That's
think
why
get
I
a close up on her, but
I wish
you
I
can
had
see
her
it.
bank account.
Well, I can
That's
understand
what I was
that.
going to ask, how lucrative is
You could stand in for it. No, you talk about being a stand-in.
Yeah, that's true.
You could stand in for
Yeah,
her.
That would be.
Would that pay like Dr.
That-
Brooks?
I would do
What did
it.
it say?
I would
Something
do it.
last year as income was
90 million.
90
90
million.
million.
Yes.
That was just
yes.
her income. And
And
her
her
husband's
husband.
was over 100.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what you
Jay-Z.
call a merger.
Money. yes.
That's a
But I've
merger.
never seen a Brinks truck behind hers yet.
No.
Right, right.
So what do they do with all that money, you know?
I know. I
They
could
need to
find
send
some
it down
things
here
to
for
do
the
with it.
teachers in Illinois.
Yeah,
We can use
yeah, I definitely could
help
find
us.
something to do with it. Definitely.
And you mentioned this modeling is very prevalent in the Midwest region, mainly Chicago.
Yeah,
It's a
mainly
hub
Chicago.
there.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, Milwaukee too, as
Oh.
well. Yeah, because Milwaukee, it's a smaller city, but they do printing, they do commercials, they
Okay.
have corporate businesses there. So with that being said, I've done a lot of bookings and a lot of gigs in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Who is your favorite designer?
Oh, my favorite designer.
I only mention it because, you know, we just had the big wedding
Yeah.
with Will and Kate.
Yeah.
And I understand that one of the designers on her dress was a black man,
Really?
which I did not know.
I did not
he
know
did
that
a portion of
either.
it. That's what I understand. That's what I heard. So I
Wow.
thought, given that, you know, there are designers now I haven't heard of. So who's
I
your
would have
favorite
to
designer?
say Chanel. And
Okay.
yeah, Chanel. The reason why is because, and there's a quote that I have by Chanel. There's no such thing as an ugly woman. It's just a woman that doesn't know how to apply herself.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I think that she is classic. I think that her designs are beautiful, and I think that they complement your figure. And when I associate Chanel, I think of classy.
Do you consider it St. John? Because to me, St. John and Chanel are very
They
similar.
are very similar.
Very
yes,
similar.
Very
And they do have the
similar.
classic
They
look.
do. They
They're
do.
timeless.
And she has a great makeup line.
Chanel
Chanel
does.
does.
Right. St.
Yeah.
John does never.
Right.
Okay, you're right. I was going to say St. John has a makeup line. Okay, you're right.
Yes, I'd go with Chanel.
Okay. So who was your mentor when you entered the... You said it was Sharon King.
Yeah, Sharon King.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, you know, my mom has always pushed me along the way.
Good for you.
Yeah, she's always pushed me along the way and things like that. But and then a photographer. I
Okay.
linked up with a couple
Okay.
of photographers, John Smith, and then Sacco, which is
Okay.
he's the one who shot my
Is
comp
that
card.
S-O-T-O?
SOCKO.
CK. Okay.
Yeah,
All
he
right.
was. The reason why I respected him is he was to the point. There was no sugarcoating. He told me things just the way that they are.
Okay.
You know, and I didn't get offended. He just said, if you want to make it, if you want to do these gigs, and these bookings, these are the things that you need to do. And I actually did, and he was right. You know, I did pay, you know, $700-800 for my pictures, but I made that back in one gig.
Okay.
And you're marketing those pictures
investment.
for 5, 6, 7 years.
It's an investment.
Yeah, big time. So, you know, and I try to introduce my kids. I don't push them into the field, this field, but I try to encourage them. I want them to know that it's out there if they want it. And I feel like every field and everything you do in life is going to bridge you to something new, to a new beginning. So my daughter, you know, she did a pageant. She did a pageant recently. She was about 3 at the time.
Okay.
And then she did the baby Beyonce thing. I think.
Notice that Beyonce comes up again.
Right. And my son, he's a great football player.
Okay.
He's been playing football since he's been 5, and he's trained in different.
You don't seem like you could have a son who's playing football.
Yeah,
Right.
I do.
Does she?
I do.
Look at that.
I have a big boy. I have a big boy. So, you know,
So he's
I just
proud of
wanna,
his mom.
Yeah, and I tell them, you know, also, you know, don't just depend on your body or, you know, your physical appearance.
Okay.
Get your education, because that is something that people can't take away from you. You know, and I tell him he wants to be this big football player. You know, I put him in the Urlacher camps and the Alex Brown camps and Devin Hester and things like that. But if he becomes injured, I'm like, what would you like to do next? Tell me, what would you like to do?
That is fabulous, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful for you to say that because you're very young and you can relate to the young kids today. And I don't think they hear that enough. And when they see someone beautiful like yourself and you're still pushing and advocating education, I think they hear it. I mean, as a parent, sometimes our kids will hear it. I'm sure my son would listen to Dr. Brooks
Right.
much sooner than he would listen to me.
Exactly.
You know, fortunately, he is in law school and he's graduating next week. But, you know,
congratulations.
but it was someone else he listened to. It wasn't me, okay? So I'm very happy. But
right.
I think that's great that you advocate education, particularly in this school district and where we are now.
Yeah.
And with the way our economy is, it's something you can always, like my mother always said, they cannot take your education from you.
That's right.
Once you have that, that's in the bank.
That's so true.
Take a
That's
look
so
at
true.
Venus and Serena Williams,
Oh,
for example.
yeah.
Great athletes, but now they have a little difficulty physically. But they're into designing
The
too,
fashion
right?
is something that will never go away. I did this wedding not too long ago, and I remember the husband was a Marine, and the woman, I think she was a teacher or a psychologist, but when I made her over, she was so happy. She's like, I've never looked like this. I'm beautiful. But what really brought tears to my eyes is when I seen her husband look at her. He was crying. This big Marine was crying about how beautiful she looked on her day.
Job well done.
Yes, and I said, I'm making a difference. Even with this, I've never looked at it like that.
Yes.
But even with doing makeup and in the fashion industry, you make a difference. And I said, I want to make people feel like that. If I can make people feel like that, one day at a time, my job is done.
Well done.
I'm done. So it was just a wonderful, wonderful
You mentioned
experience.
about minorities, but the opportunities for minorities in modeling.
Oh, they're great. This is a great time to get into it. Diversity, different looks. And it's not always if, you know, you have this glamorous look. Sometimes it's, do you have a different look?
Okay.
Do I see that look every day? Sometimes just having the red, bouncy hair will get you in the door because everybody else of this culture doesn't have that red, bouncy hair. But as far as African Americans, we are so accepted right now, and we have been for a long time. And I think we will continue to do so as we grow and we learn, and we're open to this.
What do you think about,
Especially-
I'm sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Especially where we're at now with Oprah and Barack
Yes.
and all the influential people that you see in the news and on the headlines. It just opens those doors for people like us.
What do you think about this stigma that models today are getting to be like 12 years old and they're having them look like they're 21?
Yeah, I don't agree
Okay,
with that.
I don't know if there are many African American models, but I know that globally you have these young girls. They can go to Europe, and they'll be 10, and they'll look like they're 18, 20.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that.
Do you see that in your industry?
You know what? I've seen it before. I've seen it before. I've done some runway. Like I'll mention this too. I trained with Mark David Carter out of Chicago.
Really?
He is a great runway extraordinaire.
Okay.
And I've done some great shows at B. Taylor and Company around Chicago runway.
Okay.
Is runway my forte? I'm good on the runway. I can do my thing, but I know that I cannot be a runway model, not in this stigma, not in this stigma and not in the stereotypes, and that's fine, and I accept that. So I haven't been in that realm as much.
Okay.
I've seen that a little bit, and I don't agree with it. I think girls should stay young as long as they can.
Sure.
You know, a little makeup here and there is okay, but when you're, you know, excessively piling the makeup on or dressing in some things that are not appropriate, I don't agree with that.
Well, I think it's great that you mentioned that models can be any size, okay?
Yes.
And that there is a market for models in various sizes.
Yes.
Because the stigma of having them bone thin,
Right.
a lot of these girls are anorexics, they're bulimia,
yeah.
and they're dying,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Or they're getting addicted to certain narcotics
Yeah.
to kill their appetite to maintain this weight.
Exactly.
So when I look at someone like you who's probably like a size 6, 5,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's wonderful. No, you don't have to be a 1 or 0
don't.
because the ideal thing I hear girls want today is a 0. They
Right.
want to be a 0. I never heard of a 0 when I was 20.
See.
Okay, you know, we were happy being a 5.
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
But now they want to be a 0, which is unhealthy.
It is.
For
it
them
is.
mentally and physically.
It is, yeah.
So.
There's this thing called, well, a saying, a curvy comeback. And it's okay to be curved and to embrace yourself and be happy in who you are. And people like, you know, J-Lo and Beyonce
Right.
and, you know, everybody else, they have put that out there, and it is okay. And you don't have to be a stick figure to be out there. And even Tyra Banks,
I was
she's
just thinking
opened up
of her.
the window. You know, she'll go on TV. I look up to her because she'll go on TV and she'll be like, "I've had stretch marks and I haven't even had kids. Who does that?" And show them.
Tyra.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So,
Tyra.
you know, with people, you know, being open and free and not, you know, pretending like this is such a glamorous life, when it's always not that way, then I think that's going to open up the minds of these young girls.
Do you meet a lot of men
I do.
in that industry?
I do.
Because it doesn't seem like they have the same concerns, issues. I mean, they want them buffed.
They do.
They want the
Yeah.
muscles, you know, they
Yeah.
want them to look good.
Yeah.
So what's the longevity for a man in this industry?
I think it's about the same. And
Is it
'cause
really?
yeah, I think it is about the same. You know, with the men, of course, there's less of them out there. But the beauty with the men is a lot of them transpire into actors.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a few
Right.
guys that are like doing commercials.
Richard Roundtree was an actor.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he was a model.
But then he
Right.
transpired.
In fact, he
to
started
acting.
modeling here in Chicago with
Oh.
Ebony Fashion Fair.
Really? Okay.
Richard Roundtree is known for, what is the movie he made? Shaft.
Oh, yeah.
He's
yeah,
Shaft.
Yeah.
But he started with Ebony Model Fashion Fair here.
Yeah, which is a wonderful, wonderful show. If anybody wants to see like complete runway models, that's the place to go.
Is modeling a competitive field, though?
It's very competitive. It's very competitive. The thing is, you just have to have confidence in yourself, and you have to know your market. Like I know my market. You know, I'll locally do some runway in Chicago, but I'm not seriously gonna like go to London and be a runway model. And I'm comfortable with that. I'm who I am. What can I do with what I have? Because that is what makes you you, but this is what makes me me. So I think once you get past that and just know that what's for you is for you.
Okay.
You know, when I'm in that line at auditions or putting my comp cards in, if it's for me, it's for me. No one can take that away from me. And as long as they think like that, then they'll be fine. And you have to know, even if you go to that audition and they don't call you back for that callback, you're always going to meet another model at that audition, or another photographer at that audition, or somebody's going to see you. They might not want to use you for this project, but they might possibly want to use you for the next project. I've worked in a lot of things like that, but just to go down there is the first step. And 9 times out of 10, one gig will turn into something else.
Okay.
Do you apply your own makeup when you have an assignment, or do you have an artist do it?
Oh, you know, 50% of the time, there'll be a makeup artist there.
Okay.
But a lot of times there isn't.
Okay.
So they would tell us, you have to come camera ready.
Uh-huh.
And that's another way I got into it, because I'm like, well, they want this look. How am I going to do this? So I would Google it or look at a magazine,
Wow.
and I would kind of create that look. And I just got better and better and better to the point where models were like, can you do my makeup? You know, or photographers were like, I have a model, can you do her makeup? And then to the point where, you know, I'd be walking down the street or in the mall, and they would be like, who did your makeup? And I'd be like, I did.
Well, did that stem from your Fancy Friday? See, I read your bio.
Yes.
Okay, because I thought
Yeah.
that was. I'm just curious. Who is your friend in Fancy Fridays or Fabulous Fridays?
Oh,
wasn't it?
yeah,
Who
Fabulous
is Fabulous Friday's friend?
Her name is Denancia,
Okay.
and she is a childhood friend of mine, and I just loved her name because it always sounded like a chandelier. I said, Denancia.
Very exotic.
Denancia, yeah. So we would always, every Friday, we would go into her house, or my house, but it was mainly her house, and we would look through these magazines, and like back in the 90s, we were like trying to like glue these rhinestones on our eyes that you see every day, but we were like trying to do that back then. And we would dedicate a whole Friday, every Friday, to this. We would order McDonald's, and we would just put on all this makeup and do our hair and just try to recreate these looks just to go to bed.
And I was wondering, is that where this whole design came from? Was it from the Fabulous Fridays?
Yeah, it really was. It was just me playing and having fun, and I never thought that it would transpire into a business. Like, it was effortless. It just happened, and I just got better and better at it, and here I am today, actually like making a career out of this. Wow. So yeah, it's just one thing after another that just
How important is sponsorship in modeling, though?
Sponsorship, as far as having sponsors sponsor you?
Yeah.
It's important, but you have to remember that it's still an investment. It's still a business.
Okay.
Like I've had, I know when I was doing modeling, not so much, the only sponsorship I've had really with makeup is the school that I went to, London Eye's Academy. I did a show, and at that particular show, they sponsored all my makeup. They sponsored my agency model, my brushes, whatever I needed. So it's important, but you have to know at the end of the day, it's still an investment, just like modeling. You have to buy your brushes, you have to buy your makeup, you have to buy the supplies that you need, and just know that you'll get that back in return. You have to buy your cases. And then you just start out little by little by little by little, and then eventually it builds up, and you have your kit, or whatever that particular makeup artist wants to call it, to do the makeup.
That's not a goal, then, a primary goal, to be in the Hollywood to make films, then?
To be in
movies.
To be in Hollywood?
That's not a goal of the models. I'm sure quite a few models.
Yeah,
you mentioned about Richard Roundtree and so forth.
Yeah.
Was that a goal?
Some of them, yeah, it is a goal, and then, it's a huge dream, but then they realize this is harder than I thought.
Okay.
Like you mentioned earlier, there is a lot of competition out here. But there are plenty of people from Chicago that have made it, But the thing is, you just have to think, okay, this is where I'm at now. This is who I am. Let me get as far as I can get. Like, if I don't do another thing in my life, industry-wise, from this point on right now, I'm happy. I'm content.
So you're not aspiring to go to Hollywood? I think that's where you were going to go with it.
I would love to.
Okay.
If the opportunity arises, I would never turn it down, if that comes my way.
Okay.
But I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable working, as a teacher and doing this part-time.
Okay.
Of course, I would love to live in the glamorous lights, but where I stand, I'm comfortable because it gave me an opportunity to make money doing something I love. And I'm able to get that creative energy out because I also like to interior design. I like to, decorate homes, and I like to do bulletin boards. That's the teacher in me. Like, my bulletin board is always really pretty and detailed and three-dimensional.
So you're just artistic.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So as long as I can put my artistic touch on everything, I just didn't want to do something in life that I wasn't happy. I knew that the corporate world, that wasn't for me.
Okay.
I knew I had to do something different.
Well, your mom's in the corporate world, isn't she?
She is, definitely.
Okay, so you really do understand that.
I do.
Okay.
I do. And I know I've heard my mom and other people tell me how it is, and I just personally didn't want that for myself, although I know that's stability, I know it's good money, but I wanted a career and a job that I could make decent money, but still be happy.
Well, who inspired you to go into modeling? Since it wasn't your mom, because we know she's a corporate person.
Right.
So who was your inspiration?
My inspiration was really, I believe, the lady that helped me when I used to go get my eyebrows done, who kind of...
Really?
Yeah, who was like, you know what, you could do this, you can do this.
Have you seen her since you both...
You know what, I haven't seen her, it's been some years. It's been some years.
Hopefully she'll see this and see what she has done.
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. Her name is Gloria Moore, actually. She's a makeup artist. And I would say that's what got my head just going and saying I can do this. And then once I got out there and I met other supporters that were like pointing me in this direction and pointing me in that direction, then I just transpired.
Do you think you were mentoring? Have you mentored anyone in this industry?
Yes, I have actually.
Okay.
I'm doing a show next month for Styles for You.
Okay.
And at Styles for You, we're going to be I'll be doing makeup for that show.
Okay.
And I've been a mentor to her. Like, she's assisted me on some shows and things like that. And so now she's putting on her own show, and I'll be doing makeup for it. It'll be at Academy of Our Lady, June
Okay.
18th at 5:30. It's a private school.
Now, what city is that in?
It's going to be right here in Waukegan. It's
Okay.
a private school, a Catholic school.
Okay.
And they're going to have a lot of children. They're going to have a lot of children in this show.
Wonderful.
But it's great because she's a hairstylist and a makeup artist, but we'll be kind of collaborating. And anybody, so many young girls. I've at the North Chicago pageant, I've talked to those ladies as well. And I've mentored them in conjunction with Nina Geeter. I know you're familiar with Nina Geeter.
Yes.
But my sister, she's a wonderful singer, talented singer.
That's right. She's been on this show.
She has.
That's,
She can sing in different languages, German and Italian and.
That goes back to like what Dr. Brooks was saying, how you have to give back.
You have to.
You know?
Yeah, you
It's
have
important.
to. Yeah. So I always have my cousins, everybody, Teiama, how can I get into this? And I just always, as busy or as tired as I am, I say, you know what? Somebody had to help me, and somebody's going to have to continue to help me because I'm still not where I exactly want to be. So I always take that time and I forward that information over, and I say, here you go. Here you go. And I give them the information that they need and tell them this is how I did it. So yeah, so I've been a mentor before.
That's good. This leads into, we talk about there may be some disappointments. Everything's not going to be rosy.
Yes.
So you want to tell us about how to overcome some of those.
The disappointments?
Yeah.
Well, I always tell people with auditioning, out of 100 auditions, you may get one.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
You may get one. Really, is this really what you want to do? Because you have to be real with yourself.
Okay.
You have to know that just because they don't choose you for this, it's not that they didn't like you. They could love you. They could think you look great, you're articulate, but you might not be what they want for this project. And you just have to hold your head up high and keep going, because the next person might want you. So you have to look for that person that, okay, they kind of like me, but the next person might actually love me. And that's how I look at it. I can only be me, and I can only do the best that I can do. After that, what more can you do? So I try to tell them, go to the next one, keep pushing, because eventually somebody is going to tell you yes. And they will. And they will. It's just a matter of, do you want to go through that to get where you want to be? And there's another saying that I love that I have to say: you do what you got to do,
So you can do what you want to do.
so you can do what you want to do.
I tell my kids that all the time.
You do. It's so
That's
true. And
true.
you're right. I tell my son that because, how bad do you want this? Literally, I'm going to give you an audition, what I have to go through. You get dressed. They call you. If you're working, you have to take off work just to audition, not to get the gig, just to audition.
Okay.
You get dressed. You get in your car. 9 times out of 10, you're stuck in rush hour traffic.
This is Chicago.
It is Chicago. 2 hours to get where you need to be. They don't film on the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, they're not shooting commercials and things like that. Because the lighting people and the camera people, I'm sure you guys know, being in the business, their hours are 9 to 5. So to think that you're going to get something after 5 o'clock or on the weekend is unlikely.
Right.
So you're on their time, and you're waiting in the car for hours. Then you get there, guess what? There's nowhere to park because you're downtown Chicago.
And then it's $40.
Yeah. So you actually have to pay out of your pocket to park or risk a ticket. So then you pay out of your pocket, you get fancied up, and you recalm and recollect yourself again, and you go stand in that line of all those people. You put your comp card in that pile of about 100 people that's been there before you and about 100 people that's going to come there after you. You're there for literally 30 seconds. They tell you to take 4 poses, 1, 2, 3, front, back, side to side. If you have to cold read, you might do that if that's feasible for your script, if that's what they're asking you to do. Not all the time they ask you to do that. And you leave.
So diction is very important in this industry.
It's very important. It's very important.
Okay.
It's very, especially if you're doing something like commercials where you might get a speaking role. They might have you do like a crest, like a dialogue for a crest commercial, like a one-liner we call them, you know, and then yeah, and you leave.
And you can tell that with going back to Beyonce, because you do keep reminding, as I looked at you, she's had a coach. If you notice how she spoke 10 years ago and you listen to her today,
Yeah.
two different people.
It is.
Two different people. And many of the professional athletes, they were saying it adds to their contract if they can speak well. So they're hiring coaches during the summer because no one's hiring you to sell a commercial and you don't speak articulately.
It's so true.
So
It's so true. It's so true.
that's interesting that you
Yeah.
said that.
Also in the past, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, the color of the skin had made a difference. We, on the newscasters even, we never seen the people that out, you know, up front, dark skin. But now, it's a lot different now.
It is. It is. And I have it is. You always had the light-skinned, fair-skinned, long-haired women or men that were in this industry. But the dark skin is becoming more prevalent and it's being more respected. And me personally, I think like the vivid colors, when I apply makeup on the darker skin, just stands out so much more. You know, I think that it's just beautiful. But going to that, I just want to mention, I'm a huge Disney fan. We got our first Princess Tiana, our first African-American princess.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the doll.
Which is the doll.
Yes.
Which is the,
Have you seen it, Dr.? Oh, it's a black doll, and she's identifiably black.
Yeah, and it was a big, it was a lot of back and forth with that because they were going to make her light skin, then they were going to name her Lindsay, and then Madison. I was following the story 3 years prior, and all of a sudden they said we want something ethnic, so they came out with Tiana, which is kind of like my name, and they made her darker, and now it's like, I can look at a black princess. My daughter has a black princess to look up to. And we actually took her to the premiere in New York to see the movie before it came out and to meet Tiana, because not only is it, okay, yeah, it's just a doll, but this is something bigger. This is African-American faces that are going to be in a magazine now. These are girls that are like, I can do this. I don't have to just be light-skinned. Because there was a point where, okay, do I have to be Caucasian to do this? Now our girls are like, I don't even have to be, you know, light-skinned black.
But you know what's interesting is that children don't view her as a black princess. Because I teach in a very diverse school, very diverse. Very small percentage, I would say, are African Americans, and that doll is so popular by all of the children. They don't see her as a black princess. They see her as a princess, and when I think of that, I think Martin Luther King has finally happened. We have overcome.
It is.
They view her as a princess, beautiful doll, not a black doll.
I remember. It's so true that you mentioned that. I remember when I went to the premiere and I was going to the Disney store and stuff, buying the costume for my daughter, and I seen these little girls, you know, of all different races, and buying her, and I was like, yes, yes. It's,
right.
You know,
they just want the princess doll.
Yes.
Her color.
It didn't matter.
It wouldn't it be great if we can all get to that point?
Yes.
You know, and stay there. Because this new generation coming up, they're on their way.
Yeah, they are.
If adults just stay out of the way.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, yeah.
Well, the ultimate goal of Teiama Sippio.
The ultimate goal for me would be to continue what I'm doing.
Okay.
My business name is Ama's Artistry, and to make Ama's Artistry the best it could possibly be, and to be happy in life. I would love to continue to model. I would love to continue to do commercials, if possible. One big commercial, I don't even have to say anything, but my dream would be, I want to do a McDonald's commercial. I just want to like bite a fry, or like, you know, like do a hamburger, you know.
This is the main, McDonald's is headquarters here, right in Burr Ridge, I believe, or Oak Ridge?
Oak Brook.
Oak Brook,
Yeah, so it can happen,
Bridge,
you know.
So this would, right, let's see what we can do about that.
Exactly, so I have my little, but that would be my biggest thing. But I just want to continue to make Ama's Artistry flourish and just be the best it could possibly be.
Well, it's been so honored to have Tara Thomas with us.
Oh,
and,
my pleasure.
I have to have you take about 30 seconds, tell us about it, because you have a terrific background, and I've learned so much from you just since I just met you, you know. But tell us your your goal?
Well, my goal is really, I would like to have a PhD like Dr. Brooks. I hope God is not too late. I ultimately would like to move up in the School of Industry. To me, education is still an industry.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I ultimately would like to be in administration or in the union or some capacity to help teachers. I think that there's a whole lot of backlash coming on us today, and I'd like to make a difference. And I teach my students like that. I have first grade students, but you would swear they're fifth grade.
I believe
My first grade students, they know the presidents. They're doing addition in their head three digits at a time. But I'm at a school that allows me to do that.
Exactly.
And the industry, the camera and so forth, behind the scenes and so forth, you have a great background in that. We talk about secondary, so that's your secondary.
Oh my God! If I could take this and elevate it to where I want to, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again to Teiama.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Brooks. Thank you.
Tara,
Oh,
thank you
thank
very
you.
much. You have made the Comcast audience at least 100,000 subscribers. You know,
Oh,
so
wow.
at least 100,000 people are watching this, and I'm sure my ratings are going up.
Oh, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Teiama Sippio. She's a model and makeup artist. And we've been talking about modeling and makeup. She's a professional, and she has grown since the last time she's been on the program. We also fortunate to have with us Tara Thomas, a co-host, and she's also a teacher in the local school system in North Chicago. So we hope that you have enjoyed the program. This has been Community Forum. My name is Dr. Wandell Brooks, Sr., your host.